Good evening, and welcome to What's Your Story? My guest tonight is Adam Pio. Adam has years of experience in the automobile industry. He is extremely knowledgeable in the field of automobile accidents and the procedures that surround them. He understands the automobile insurance industry, and he is well versed in consumer rights. He has built a successful business working cooperatively with the insurance companies and consumers. The second most expensive purchase that you will make is your automobile. Unfortunately, sooner or later, we will all be involved in an automobile accident. The more knowledge that you have, the better your outcome. My guest is here to help you learn how to exercise your rights in the event of an accident. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Thank you.
Wow. We tried to get this for quite a while. Remember, we were trying to get this back, 2 or 3 months ago?
Yes.
And you were just a busy, busy man.
Very busy.
Well, my audience is very, very happy to have you here with us tonight on What's Your Story? Adam, would you begin by telling our viewing audience a bit about yourself, your business background, that sort of thing? What experience do you have? Take your time. Talk as much as you like.
I've been buying cars and selling cars, repairing them, painting them, appraising them for over 20 years. I grew up, I was buying cars before I even had a driver's license. So this is what I know. This is what I specialize in. This is what I train for. I have different locations, and we specialize in helping people out that have been in motor vehicle accidents. I always strive to do my best, and sometimes people are very scared when I meet them because they just have been in one of the most traumatic incidents in their life.
Absolutely, yes.
And they just don't know what to do.
Absolutely.
So I'm there for them.
So tell me something about yourself in cars. You said even before you got a driver's license, you were buying cars. So when did you fall in love with cars?
I fell in love with cars since I was a little kid. You know, I always had Matchbox cars, and you know, I'd play with those, and I just love cars. What
model car you remember that stands out? Was it a Corvette? Was it a, I don't know, a Road Runner? What car for you did it?
No, the Chevy Camaro.
The Chevy Camaro. What year?
77.
A 77. Did you ever own this?
Yes, I did. I was in high school when I owned that.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about your 77 heavy Chevy.
Pushing 500 horse, and I was 16 years old driving it to school. And I had the big fat tires on the back and the skinnies on the front. And the teachers would say to me, Adam, what's going on with that car? Where'd you get that car? And we just used to have fun. I was even in shop class when I was in high school. That's when they had, you know, shop classes. They teach you how to work on cars.
Yes.
And we would break down cars and put them back together just to learn how to do it.
Is that not still being taught in the schools today?
Not the school that I went to. I don't know. I haven't heard too many schools that are doing it. It was, you know, they used to do like woodworking class, and you could pick your classes, and one of them was auto shop.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun, hands-on, you know. I highly recommend, if they don't have it anymore in different areas, they should bring it back. So
you actually, in high school, took automobiles apart and had them parts all laying on the table somewhere.
Absolutely.
And then put them back together.
Right, and then you had to clean up and before you went to your next class, because you're full of grease.
Absolutely, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
those were good old days.
Well, how long was that class that you were?
Hour and a half.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, so you could get a lot done in an hour and a half, and the teachers would let you work on your own cars, or the teachers that cars were broken down, they'd bring it into auto shop class and get the jobs done for, you know, free, so we could learn as kids.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So you had this from early on. You had this love for the automobile.
Absolutely.
And that love led you to shop at high school, and you began taking cars apart, putting them together, which gave you an inside knowledge of the functions of each part and what it's supposed to do.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Then technology changed over the last 20 years with a lot more sensors and a lot more computers, but along the way I've taken plenty of classes and a lot of schooling to keep up with it. You know, I'm always trying to keep up with new technology.
Real quickly, not to get off the schedule, off the track here, but automobiles, are they basically different today than when you were in school? Aren't they still constructed basically the same?
No.
No?
Not, I mean, yeah, basically yes, but there's so many more, you know, gadgets, you know, there's
The computer?
like computers, there's sensors in the mirrors, you know, there's rear view mirrors that have cameras in them. You know, anti-lock brake systems, the airbag systems are different. Now there's airbags in the roof, you know, in the B pillars. You know, back then there was probably just airbags in the in the steering wheel and the passenger side.
Yeah. Now, when I met with you initially to talk about this interview, you told me that you had experience in helping customers who have had automobile accidents. I want you to take your time and explain to me what type of experience are you talking about when you're helping a customer who's had an automobile accident?
Well, you know, when a person has an automobile accident, I show up on the scene to help them to tow their vehicle away. And besides the police and the ambulance, I'm right there with them. And I treat everybody just like they're one of my loved ones. You know, people are shaken up, you know, they don't know, they're nervous. Well, what's going on, this and that? And I said, relax, everything's gonna be okay. Get them out, put them in my truck, stay safe, get out of the road. And I explained to them along the way, everything's gonna be okay. You know, why don't you go get checked out? You know, I always suggest for the people to get medical attention.
Sure, well, yeah.
You know, but I'll provide rental cars for people. I give them free cars when people don't have a rental policy or whatever. If they just need to get to work, I'll bring them to work. There's times I've brought people to the hospital. So I really like to help the people out. It is satisfying for me, and people come back and they thank me.
So when you show up at the scene, right, you usually see the police.
Yeah.
And you see shook up two parties, I would guess, both parties who were involved in the accident.
Right.
And you immediately go into your help the accident victim mode. Now, how many years have you been showing up at the scenes and helping people grasp with the initial shock of an automobile accident? How long have you been doing that, and when did you start, and why?
I've been doing that for 15 years. I do it for the excitement. I began doing it for the excitement.
And what's the excitement, Adam, in an automobile
Well, you know, when
accident?
the police are calling you and they say, hey, we have a 3-car accident, 2 cars are rolled over.
Ooh.
We need you here to help us out. You know, this is what we train for. So we go over there and roll the cars over and clean up the whole scene back to pre-accident condition. And along the way, I meet a lot of friends.
Now, when you're working with a consumer or a person at the scene, what's the most common thing people say to you when you tell them you are there to help them? What's the most common concern people have?
Usually they can't understand like why I'm so nice, you know. Well, she's like, oh, you're so caring. And it's because, you know, I've had family members involved in a motor vehicle accident, and I want them to be treated the way I treat people, you know what I mean? But I'm there to take their vehicle away to a safe location. I'm there to make sure I could get them back on the road, usually within a few hours. Many times within the same hour that they smashed their car, they're driving a car away and they're still going to work the same day. You know, and that's if they didn't seek medical attention and they're feeling okay. There's been plenty of times when they've gotten in my truck with me, and I said, I don't like the way you're looking right now. I'm going to take you to the hospital.
Sure.
And they say, you think so? I said, yeah, well, the ambulance said, they asked me, and I didn't want to go in the ambulance. People are nervous sometimes.
Absolutely.
They don't want to go in the ambulance because they just feel like it's out of their element. But they'll get in a tow truck, and they'll go with me to the hospital, and I'll go, and I said, here's my cell phone number. Call me. I'll come pick you up when you're ready.
Yes.
And it goes a long way. People they can't understand it. They're like, how can you do this?
Exactly, and that's my next question. We have skeptics probably watching. Oh my God, he's not doing it for his heart. He's doing it because it'll benefit him somewhere down the line or his bottom line, right? I want you to look at me and tell me what it is that motivates you to go help somebody. What is it?
I feel their thankfulness. When they come out, everybody gives me a hug. Everybody, they'll come in, he's the guy, he's the only one who asked me how I was feeling on the scene. You got to remember, the police officers on the scene, they got a lot of things going on for them. They have to calculate whose fault it was, this and that. They're doing the best job they can. Okay, the ambulance, they're training for certain things, but there's people in the car shaking. Oh, their car is smoking, fumes coming out of the car, and the ambulance hasn't gotten around to them yet. The state police, I'll go over there and I'll say, hey, I'm the tow truck driver, I'm the body shop, I'm the facility. Anything you need, you tell me where you want your car to go, it's gonna go. Here's my cell phone number. Whatever you want, I work for you. I just want you to understand that everything's gonna be okay. Okay, can you please call my daughter? They can't even drive. They can't even write their phone number down, or no problem.
Sure.
If I pick up, hey, I have your mom here with me. I just want to let you know she was in an accident, and they come down. The mother comes down. They're just super thankful. People bring me lunches, dinners, and I met a lot of friends along the way.
That's not the conventional view of a tow truck driver.
No, it's not. And
you know that.
Yeah, and there's these shows out there over the years where the tow truck driver comes out of the truck and he's got a chain over his shoulder.
That's right.
And he's got tattoos over there, and Billy Bob Joe, and and that's scary.
Absolutely it is.
And I tell my employees, you never act like that. Whatever they want. If the customer says, I want this car to go down to this body shop, no problem. Whatever you want. Don't worry about getting paid. We'll figure that out later.
Okay.
Make the people happy. And at that point, 9 out of 10 times, they're bringing the shop right back to us because of the way I treated them.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned an interesting thing when you were talking. Could you please explain to our viewing audience the difference between a first-party and a third-party accident?
Well, a first-party accident is basically, it's an accident that's your fault. You're the first party, it's the accident's your fault. A third-party accident is an accident that somebody hit you and it's not your fault. And your rights as a first party versus a third party are, they're different. So I
want to go into that. Why are my rights different as a first party if the accident is my fault, and they're not the same if I'm a third party and it is not my fault? What's going on with that? Is that law?
Yes, it's policy language. It is law. What happens is when you're first party, if you smash your car, let's just say into a tree, for example, it's your fault. And your policy language with your insurance company is written how they can repair your vehicle, what your options are, what your deductible is, and it is what it is at that point. That's the policy that you purchased. Whereas if someone hits your car, that's a third-party claim, and the person that hit your car, his insurance company or her insurance company, has to take care of your car, but they have to make your car whole. So they have to make it just like your car was driving down the road before. And that's,
they don't have to do that as a first party.
Well, no, their policy says that they could use whatever parts they want, pretty much, between aftermarket parts, LKQ parts.
We're going to talk about that a little later, but first of all, consumers should understand, first of all, if you're a first party accident or a second party accident,
Third party.
or a third party accident,
Right.
that will affect the insurance coverage for your car.
Absolutely, it'll affect what kind of rental you're going to get. It'll loss of use. Your deductible, you're not going to have a deductible because it's not your fault.
How many people do you meet have no clue about first or third parties?
Oh, many of them, 90% of them. They just don't understand. Many people think that they have to use their insurance company. Oh, I got in an accident, I got rear-ended, I got to call my insurance company. Yes, you have to notify your insurance company that you were in an accident, but you don't have to put the claim in through them.
Is that first or third or?
First, third party.
Third party.
You could exercise your right to file the claim with the third party insurance company. You understand?
Yes, please go on.
So
This is
now,
terrific.
you don't have to come up with that $500 deductible to fix your car. Some people have a $1,000 deductible. I've seen $2,000 deductibles. It's crazy. Times are tough right now for a lot of people. So when people say, oh, I have a $1,000 deductible, I don't know what I'm going to do. Simple. It's not your fault. We're going to call the claim in for you under the third party insurance company, and they're going to come out and they're going to pay your entire bill. And you're not going to have to pay a deductible. And by the way, they're going to pay for a card for you to use as well. Because a lot of people, they can't afford rental coverage.
Sure.
So if you don't have rental coverage, and that's one more thing. People can't even get to work.
My goodness.
And if they can't get to work, how are they going to pay their insurance bills, and how are they going to pay their bills?
So in your insurance policy, is third party and first party, is there first party and third party language? I mean, should people read their insurance policies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before,
Take it out, sit down, and read it.
Read it. Make sure your coverages are
What
enough.
you think they are.
Yes, there's a lot of people driving around out there with no insurance. We hear about this all the time. It's scary. You get hit with somebody who's got no insurance. Now you're forced to use your insurance, and you better make sure that policy is what you bought. You know what I mean? Make sure. Some people always just get the cheapest policy out there. Those days are over because it really ends up hurting them in the long run.
Okay, you get to a scene, you see a person who's shook up, okay? If you were advising someone, take me through the steps. What's the first thing you would say to a person who was involved in an automobile accident? What's the first, assuming they can, they're of sound mind and
Right.
can do it. What's the first thing they should do?
I find a lot of people just sitting in the car waiting for the police officer or to finish paperwork or whatever. I'll walk up to them like, how are you feeling? I'm shook up. Why don't you seek medical attention? The first thing I always recommend is seek medical attention.
Why?
The ambulance is there or whatever. If you want, we'll call an ambulance for you. Because what happens when you get involved in an accident, this is one of the most traumatic things you'll deal with in your life. Your adrenaline is through the roof. So people are high on adrenaline, so they're like, I think I feel okay, I'm all right. In the meantime, their airbag blew off in their face. Their head went back, hit the post. So just because they're moving their fingers and their toes and they're alive, they're strong, they think they're okay. And I highly suggest the first thing, if you are in an accident, especially where the airbags blow off, go get checked out at the hospital.
So first, step one is medical attention.
Medical attention.
Even if you think you're fine.
Even if you think you're fine, and if it's a significant accident where cars are getting towed away, seek medical attention. It's good to go get checked out. It's good to go get documented.
Documentation of the medical evidence.
Yes, because what happens is, like I said, you're high on adrenaline. 3 days later, it's raining out or it's cold out, and all of a sudden you wake up twisted out of your bed and you can't even move. And it's better to get it documented, to get on whatever medications the doctors might prescribe, to keep the inflammation down.
Yes.
That's the first step.
Okay, so medical attention. What's the second thing they should do?
So the second thing they should do is, if they're not, if they're out of the car and they're walking around at the scene, if they just got out and they're like, oh, I think I'm okay, I'm shaking up, take out your cell phone. Take pictures of the scene.
Okay.
Snap a couple shots of where the cars landed. Try to snap some landmarks in the background so you can measure it later.
Ah, okay.
Because people move the cars, and then it's he said, she said.
Okay.
He was in my lane. She said, oh, no, he was in my lane.
Okay.
And take a video if you want, whatever.
Okay.
A lot of times, people will come up, if you have a video, people will come up and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I hit you. I was looking down at my phone, and this and that. Later on, they change the story all over.
No.
That never happened.
That never happened.
No, he came in my lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I saw him on the cell phone.
All that.
Absolutely.
So
now, you mentioned an interesting thing about the cell phones. Isn't there where you could take a picture and send it in, and the insurance company sends you a check? Or what is that all about?
I highly disagree with that.
Okay.
What happens is, later on, you'll call the insurance company, or I'll help you call the insurance company.
Yeah.
And there will be a procedure, and a lot of times the insurance companies will say, oh, snap us some photos of your accident, and we'll process it and we'll send you a check. And it's crazy.
Okay.
Because your car is smashed in the front, the headlights pushed in, the fenders pushed in, the aprons pushed back, and they're going to send you a check for $800, $1,000. But nobody knows how much damage is behind the headlight that got pushed in, the fender that got pushed in. Did one of the airbag sensors get pinched? Did wires get pinched or cut? And so next thing you know, you're driving your car around and you just got a check for $800. You take it to the body shop and you say, hey, I got a check for $800, fix it. They're just going to laugh you right out of the place. And worse than that is, a lot of times people continue to drive the car thinking that they only have $500 worth of damage, $600 worth of damage, when it's probably in the thousands. And what's going on with that is the safety. Now, they're not safe. Their car is not functioning the way it should be. So they're putting themselves in jeopardy.
And others as well, yeah.
And others as well.
So
and whoever else is in the car with you, your family, whatever, because you think, well, the insurance company said it was only $400 worth of damage. I could go to the grocery store. It just needs a headlight,
Yeah.
It's wrong. You do not have to do that. You do not have to do that.
So you do not have to take the photo and send it. What happens once you accept the check and cash it?
Well, you could always bring a supplement on. A body shop could bring a supplement on, but
it's more difficult.
It's much more difficult.
I see.
I always suggest having an appraiser come out to the vehicle and view the vehicle in person, just like the Connecticut statute says.
Okay.
You're not supposed to be able to write an estimate off of photos.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and these insurance companies, a lot of times they do that.
Okay.
A lot of these companies are out of state and they don't.
Well, I think we should make it clear that they're acting within the law when they do that.
Yes.
Yes, the insurance companies are acting within the scope of the law.
Yes.
They're not doing anything illegal.
No.
Okay, we want to make that point clear.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you've seen that in action, and
right.
What you have seen as a person who deals with automobiles and the accidents and the parts and all that, it is impossible or almost difficult to assess the accurate damage through a photo.
Right. I mean, if there's a key mark on the door, maybe one thing, you know what I mean? But if there's metal damage, if there's buckling, if there's lights out, it can't be done.
Okay. Yeah. This has been fascinating. I'm glad that we have two parts with you tonight. I really am glad, and I know my viewing audience is too. That's all the time we have for tonight's show. This is part one. My thanks to my guest, Adam Pio. Everybody has a story. What's yours? Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, good night.